Okay, so last but not least, we're going to work on just a little reteach of what we did the other day of graphing lines. And instead of just graphing one line from data, we're going to graph a double line so that you guys see what I'm looking for as you guys go through this. This is actual raw data over the 5 years that Mr. Mikan and I have worked together. And I don't know what I've been doing since I've been there for so long that's making kids like me less, and like him more, but it's data and it's true, so got to go with it. So first things first, we know that we're plotting two datas on the exact same line. So I want to explicitly start up with a key, all right? So that, and use colored pencils or use dotted lines and solid lines. Well, today we're going to use a key, one with a pink and a purplish bluish color. So I'm going to use my key right here. This is going to be, always got to do this to get all your understandings. This is Mr. Mikan, and then when I graph my data, this is going to be, Mr. Weber. Okay? And you can title this, always get creative and have a little fun with this, but title this most popular math teacher at Coonley, all right? Most popular math teacher at Coonley. Have a little fun with it, okay? So let's get into it. This is only going to be graphed in quadrant 1 because all my numbers are positive, and this is true for most line graphs that you're going to be making. Okay? Now, that is the first thing I do. Next thing I got to do is I got to title my axes. Well, I got year, and I got number of kids that like Mr. Mikan or Mr. Weber. So let's title this on my x-axis because this is my independent variable. And don't forget, let me go note here, independent variable is always your x. Always, just like your dependent variable is always your y variable. Don't forget that that is always going to be true. So first things first, I'm going to label my axes. I got my year here, and that means my number of kids over here. The next thing I got to do is I got to choose intervals that would satisfy this data and show it. So obviously this one's really simple because this one goes by ones, so just keep going by ones. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you guys have graph paper, so it's easy to space it appropriately. You can see clearly that this is evenly spaced. I got to fit all my data. So I could start this at, 30 because that's the lowest number. So why don't we just start it at 30? I could start it at 10. I'm going to go by 10s because I can see this is going up by 10s and 20s, more or less, and all the way to 107. So I could start at 10 and I would be totally fine with that. There's nothing wrong with that just because I'm only, 20 numbers off of 32. But whatever, let's just start at 30 just to make it a little more concise with this. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. Try to space it as evenly as possible. And now let's begin plotting our data. So Mr. Mikan's at year 1, 42, right above the 40 mark, right about there. Year 2, 67, so right about there, give or take. Year 3, 82, just above the 80 mark, right about there, give or take. 4, 93. And 5, 107. 5, 107, right about there. And I'm just connecting all the dots. Now, we know this is not linear, but it does have a linear trend. Okay, we'll get to this in a minute. And let's go to Mr. Weber. Year one, 92. People liked me back then. Year two, 71. Year two, sitting right about there. Okay, year three, 57. Right up below the 60 mark. And this is just an estimate. Year four, 43. Man, I don't know what I'm doing. Year five, 32. Follow some trend. Who knows? All right, so that is that, and you can tell that Mr. Mikan and I are going in opposite directions. The longer we teach together, the more people you dislike me and like him. But this is just a little fun little activity to see how we can do this. You can see that although both have 9, they both have trend.